Joining us now is Rayan Zahid, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Microsoft. He will take you through what's on the minds of CMOs and how you too can transform your marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Rayan Zahid.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with all of you here today. Actually, this morning, while I was driving to the venue, I wanted just to clear my mind for a while. And I started wandering around the weather around me. It's a lovely weather, by the way. We started to have this great part of the year where the temperature in the morning is around 26 Celsius degree. The wind is nice, kind of cozy, chilling a little bit. And then I couldn't help it to simply, while thinking around the cyberspace around us and the amount of communications, the amount of signals, the amount of digital material and media flowing around us. And if we had the opportunity to have like visual of this kind of communication, the lovely weather picture would have disappeared. And it would have turned into like some sort of a bloody bath, okay? With all of these marketing engagement, sales compete, aggressiveness in order to win the business and grow, and all of these things. So this is actually how things are transforming around us. If we look at how marketing is transforming today, it's becoming like more and more complicated in a sense where we can also enjoy it and think of it as a fun exercise if we enjoy it. So with that, let me just proceed with the first part of today's keynote, and it's around the capabilities that we are obsessed with. Marketing starts with business leadership, and when we look at business leadership, it's about how to enable the business leaders to be able to, with the right insights, so they can talk about their businesses and they can like advocate their business and make sure that they deliver the right message that is actually relevant to the audience that they are talking to. And the customer obsession as well, this is where we bring the customer to be at the center of whatever we are doing. Then we move with being inclusive. Being inclusive today, it is very important that we leave no person behind. No person is left untouched, untapped on, unreached. Marketing is not something that we say that we're doing it for the sake of like making revenue or so on. In so many cases, we have a cause out of this marketing. So it's important that we make our message heard and delivered to every single person that could need it, and with the way they can receive it. So this is where we be inclusive of those with hearing disability or visual disability or even mobile disability. So it's very important to be very inclusive and think about all of these channels to reach to our audience here. Storytelling, it's another highly transformed marketing tool where we can tell the right story to the right audience, again, make it very relevant and make sure that it resonates with them, with whatever pain they are having, so they can really visualize and understand how whatever we're providing them can help them. Talking about something without making it relevant to the person in front of you, it may be just like another speech coming and going, and it's useless at the end of the day. Of course, with the huge transformation that is happening around us and the huge operations, also huge amount of data produced on secondly manner, and no human being can follow up on this data and keep track of them, categorize them, analyze them, and make sense out of them. This is where we started to have the technology to be there. And it's not about replacing people. Technology is there to help, because even if you hire an army to look at the data that you have today, to make any sense out of this data, they will not be enough. Not to mention the potential human error in looking after all of these data. So that's another aspect where we have to really look at it. And then we make like this whole sense out of this with the marketing acumen, where we make sense of all of that and we deliver the right level of messaging out there. Moving on, what are the main challenges that CMOs are actually facing today? It is mainly, I would say it falls between three main pillars that yield to the fourth one. So it starts with the customer experience. What is the customer experience with us today? We build the tool, and we have the process, we skill our people, but eventually, for one reason or another, still we have a customer experience issue. Why is that? Have we put the customer in the middle? Have we considered the customer to be the customer experience at the center before we think about the process that we are creating as a journey for our customers with us? This is the key point, and this is a challenge today, because even if you look at the customers, there are like millions of personas around us. So which persona would you go for? Or is it possible to create something that is actually tailored and suits every single persona? This is what technology is offering us today. Then comes the technology capabilities. If I have the right process in place, but technology is not actually co-oping with what I want to deliver. So I have to keep that piece in mind. What is the technology capability today? What is the limit? Are we going beyond? Can the technology today co-op with us, or we are way ahead of it? So we need to keep that balance as well. And of course, the data performance out of this technology, as I just mentioned, it is very important where we have these kind of all of these data, bringing the technology, bringing the AI and the machine learning to help us look at the data, analyze it, and make sense out of it. All of that will yield into the fourth one, which is the customer trust. And for me, this is the most important part. We are doing all of that at the end of the day to gain the customer trust. If we do all of these investment, and even if we have customers approaching us and buying, if they don't trust us, they will not come back. And if they don't trust us, they will not consider even talking about us, which is another faster way to get your brand expanding. So this is these are the main challenges we are looking for. And then if we look at how actually marketing or digital marketing has transformed, and the transformation here is huge. If you look at it 10 years ago, we used to have these kind of uniballs on the street, which was, wow, this is the fastest way. You have a huge sign on the street, everyone driving, walking, they will see your name. And if you go 10 years earlier, even these uniballs were not there. And we used to have these flyers where you can just walk on the street and you see these flyers everywhere around you. And if you go even beyond, you will find us going all the way back to the ages where they used to have a person hired in every city called the yeller or the caller or whatever, who just walks around the city and passing loudly the message that whatever it is that needs to be said. So with today's, the way we are actually transforming today, there are so many channels, digital channels, from social media to email to SMS, even in texting, we have multiple ways. We have WhatsApp, there are so many ways today to communicate with our customers. And the way this is transforming is, are we choosing the right channel for the right customer? How are we going to decide on that? How is technology going to help? How are you going to manage all of these channels if you are going to? This morning we were having a panel discussion. I enjoyed actually the conversation over there. And we were openly sharing the challenges that actually different companies are facing from marketing perspective. And one of the challenges is that one company talking about the customer experience, they went for multiple channels for communicating with their customers. And they ended up different departments using different channels to communicate with one person, with one customer, on 4 different issues. That was a huge mess for them. It's a pain. So how are we going to bring all of that together so we can look, transformation is good, but we need to manage this transformation to our benefit. And we have to put all of these pillars together. So we start with the process. We have the right process in place. That is how we are going to make the journey for our customers, or how we are going actually to serve our customers. And then we bring the technology that can enable this process and make it governed and make it easily executed. But then we have the people part as well, which is the third element of the triangle here, which is people and skills. And with people, we're talking about both. We're talking about our own people that are going to use this technology and the process. Are we having the right resources who are skilled enough to understand the process and follow it, and also use the technology that we have provided to them? That's a challenge. The second one is actually the customer themselves. What is the use? If I bring the technology, I have the process, I have the technology, but my customer is not skilled enough to use it, then that's another waste. And in the first part, yeah, we can go and train our people. That's easy. Even be it thousands of people in the organization. You put a plan and you train your people to use the technology. But what about your customers? You cannot go and train your customers to use the technology. So you need to provide the technology to them in a way that is easy and actually sometimes even exciting for them to use it. And this is the people element side as part of the whole journey here. I would like to move to how are we going actually the parts here when we look at the marketing engine. And there is this kind of scientific part versus the creative part. And when you look at it, you need to have an investable model from marketing perspective. Creating the marketing model, depending on the market you are in, it needs to be something that actually it is investable, it can generate revenue, because at the end of the day, this is what this is all about. It's about generating revenue in most cases. And then you bring the right technology that can operate capably this model that you have just created. Of course, all of that will yield into lots of data that you have. So you need to take this data, analyze it, put it in the right structure, and make sense out of it, so you can get the right level of reports and dashboards that can help you to make decisions. So it's not only engaging with your customer, but also for you to make decisions out of it. And of course, as I just mentioned in the first part, which is the creating an investable model, you need to have this kind of all the marketing tool connected to the sales tool. So we have one single source of data without having scattered tools all over the place. Then you have multiple sources of data, and then start thinking which data is correct, which data is the most recent, which data is more accurate than the other one. No, we bring them all under one data engine, and out of that data engine, all modules, they can just go to that place and pick the data, do whatever analysis it requires on it, make the decision, return it back untouched. And even any update, it happens on one data source. So that's very important here. When we connect all of that, we see the marketing connected to the sales who are actually going to the field and making sure that we get the revenue in place. And then they come back, and out of their engagement, the marketing team will receive another insight that will get updated in the tool. And then new insight or new report is generated that goes back to the sales team, so they know they need to do the engagement in a new way or in a different way. And it's a cycle. It keeps looping. The creative part is thinking about your, as I just mentioned earlier, we have so many channels today. So what is the channel I'm going to use? And for what personas? We just talked about reaching our customers the way they need to be reached or they want to be reached. So are we building our marketing approach here based on personas? What are the personas that we are considering here, and which channel we are going to go after? That's a thoughtful point to spend quality time on it. Personalizing the journey, making sure that out of this, you when you decide on the personas and you decide on the category of people you are going for, then personalize this journey. Make sure that you have it like going into a targeted way, so it resonates with people on what they want and how it can help them. Of course, all of that needs to be continued with your social engagement. You cannot just have it one-way direction. Keep pushing on your customers or audience. You need to have a way of like listening and responding back, interacting, making sure that you are alive in the market or in the social media. You're not a robot that keeps sending messages outside. No, as a customer, I would love to see some interaction as well. And actually, we enjoy sometimes when we see some jokes coming from some of the social media accounts. Finally, it's about this is mainly for us, for example, in Microsoft and of course similar companies, where we look at the models that needs to be something executable on a global level with some localization. But I wouldn't go and build like a local marketing campaign on corp level and then see how can I expand it to globally. So it starts with some sort of like global, then localization, and if requires to build something completely unique for a local market, definitely, yeah, that is something doable as well. It depends on the industry and on the market that we are talking about. From customer experience platform, these are the I don't want to spend much time on this slide, to be honest, but it's mainly around how we engage with our customers, which channels that we are using to engage with them, from the email, SMS, voice, web, social, all of these things. Then how we orchestrate this engagement. This orchestration, it's about personalizing and recommendation, how we can get the best out of the data, out of this engagement, bringing them all together, getting the best next action or next best category of people to move to, or the next best insight that can help us to make recommendation for customers or even for our audience. This is where the machine learning or maybe even the artificial intelligence play a part based on the history. They look at, again, we talked about one single source of data. So all the data for your customers are actually in one place. So when you integrate a machine learning or an artificial intelligence to support you in that, it will be able to read and analyze the behavior of your customers and come back and recommend for you, oh, listen, this is what you need to do with this customer. Or for example, you received a complaint from a customer and the tone in the complaint is very aggressive. So that's an alert. The machine will come and tell you, be careful, you have a very angry customer. And based on the analysis of the communication or the pain that is happening, most likely the problem of his pain or her pain is coming from that particular product or department or even a person if it's required. This is where the platform is coming to help you and help your people actually to quickly engage with the customer, absorb them, fix the situation with them, and turn them from an unhappy, frustrated customer into an ambassador for your brand. And finally, what I would talk is about is something I touched base on it at the beginning, which is how we're bringing and connecting everything together. We're connecting the marketing tool along with the sales tool to generate revenue, along with the services tool, which is after sales. And this is where the actual customer experience with the product starts. The previous one, it's an experience to engage with you. It's an experience to know about your product. It's an experience how easy and how exciting you made it for me to purchase. But afterward, when I purchase your product, what is my experience in terms of the implementation and the usage? And then all of that, it turns into a cycle where all the data would feed back to the same database that the marketing team will take it and reanalyze it again, come up with more insights that goes to the sales, again to the services. And with that, we're looking at the entire loop for the new digital marketing. With that, sorry if I took longer than I should, but thank you very much for your listening.